This conference will now be recorded.
Hey everybody, this is Dr. Doug Smith, and Alex is here with me, and it's 2:30, so it's time for our Monday through Thursday 2:30 podcast. This is the podcast where you will hear the truth about what actually happened in the opioid crisis. And Alex and I are going to be upping our game as we're beginning to conclude the first draft of the book. Our goal is to get the book out there. Our goal is to use this book as to build the momentum we need to end this opioid crisis. And there's two things we need. We need to file the mass tort lawsuits. We're not going to get anywhere except through the courts. We've tried everything else possible. We've had multiple direct dialogues with the FDA. Nothing is going to end this except the court process. So the quicker we file the mass tort lawsuits, the quicker we can be on the pathway to ending this ridiculous opioid crisis. The second thing we need to do is the fact that people have to pay for their own treatment. When it was the pharmaceutical companies that did this to them is just wrong. It's immoral. It's unethical, and tons of people are still out there buying on the street because what else can they do? You know, they got they can't be sick. You know, that's the whole thing. They can't be sick. So those are our two goals: is to get the mass tort lawsuits filed and to get the treatment free for people. Getting the treatment free is a process called treatment IND, treatment investigational new drug. Basically, what we had to do was we had to register buprenorphine with the FDA for experimental purposes to treat the genetic damage. And then once we get it approved as a phase 3 clinical trial, we need your help on that because so far we haven't been approved. Once we get approved for a phase 3 clinical trial, then we can trigger the treatment IND, and your treatment can be free, as it should be for everybody. So that's what we're trying to accomplish with this book. And as I'm writing the book, I'm going through a whole bunch of stuff, and that brings us to what's on the screen today. Okay, take a look at the screen today. Okay, told you yesterday we were going to look at this. There on top, hopefully by now you recognize, that's the image from the 2019 ASAM, American Society of Addiction Medicine. That's the image from the 2019 ASAM. It was a course physicians are required to take in order to prescribe buprenorphine, which is ridiculous. There's no other medicine in the country. You have to take a course to be able to prescribe. But this is how they controlled not only you guys, the patients, but they controlled us, the providers. It's absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, and what you're looking at here is the scientific evidence for their opioid dopamine theory of addiction, brain disease model of addiction. This is the science they use to tell you that you are a drug addict. You're looking at the science that they use to say you are an opioid addict. Okay, because according to them, their big theory. Oh, their big beautiful theory. According to their big beautiful theory, the brain disease model of addiction, the dopamine theory of addiction, when you take an opioid, you get a surge of dopamine in your brain, and this surge in dopamine is so fantastic, so wonderful, that it hijacks your brain circuit, and now you're nothing more than a zombie running around just looking for the next hit. And their claim, brain disease model of addiction, their claim is that all addictions run through this pathway, that everything that's addictive causes a surge in brain dopamine. And that's what they're trying to show there. And there you see the amphetamine and the cocaine on top, and the nicotine and the morphine on bottom. And they're trying to show that when the brain is exposed to these substances, you get a little surge in dopamine. Okay, now, here's the problem. Okay, look right beneath the two bottom graphs and look for the number 1988, 1988. This data is from 1988, folks. Ronald Reagan was president. A lot of y'all weren't even born. Okay, this data is from 1988. I just finished medical school. Okay, this data, well, actually, I was finishing my residency. Anyway, this data is from 1988, which raises a question. Isn't there any more recent data? And the answer is yes. There's some fantastic data. You're looking at it on the bottom there. Okay, there's some fantastic data. Okay, but it doesn't show the surge in dopamine, so they ignore it. And you cannot do that in science. You cannot ignore facts. Okay, look at the data on bottom there. You'll see it says 2014. That's way more recent than the 1988. Plus, the study on top was done in Italy with mice, and it was done using a technology called microdialysis, where you hold the mouse really, really still, and you drill a little hole through its skull, and then you put a little glass tube in, and when it's in exactly the right place, you glue it. Now, I can't think of anything that could possibly go wrong with that. Can you? Okay, whereas the study on the bottom there, the Watson study from 2014, that was done using A, humans. It was done with humans, not mice. And B, it was done using the gold standard, the PET scan, positron emission tomography. Okay, there you see it at the very end, PET, PET, positron emission tomography. Okay, that was done with a PET scan. Okay, don't get hung up on the technology. Just know that the study on the bottom there was done with humans. It was done with a superior technique, much more modern than drilling holes in the skull of mice and gluing little glass tubes in place over there in Italy. Don't know if you've ever driven a Fiat. Anyway, and for ASAM, American Society of Addiction Medicine, for ASAM, the problem is the study on bottom did not show a surge in brain dopamine. It didn't show a surge in brain dopamine. So they just ignore it, and you cannot do that in science. Okay, modern science is a type of science called Popperian science. It's named after Karl Popper, who only had one big rule, and it was called the falsification principle. Okay, and the falsification principle is that for something to be truly scientific, it has to have the ability to be proven false. It has to have the ability to be proven false for it to be scientific. But once it's proven false, it's been proven false. Once it's proven false, you can't run around and claim it's true. It's been proven false. And that's what these yahoos are doing. They're running around claiming that debunked science that has been disproven, is true. You can't do that. That's not how science works. That's why Karl Popper himself, the father of modern day science, that's why Dr. Karl Popper himself said, hey, psychiatrists are not real scientists. They don't practice science. They practice a pseudoscience, kind of like a horoscope. Okay, they're as scientific as the astrologers, which really upsets the psychiatric community. They don't like to be called unscientific. They don't like the truth. Okay, but then they turn around and do stuff like this, which is completely unscientific. That's why it's not real science. So that's what we wanted to go through this week. Let's hold here. Now, Monday is a holiday, folks. We will not be here Monday. Alex, we're not going to be here Monday. Okay, Monday is a holiday, so we will not be here. So we will see everybody next Tuesday at 2:30. Don't forget to like and subscribe to us. Don't forget to post this podcast on your social media and everybody else's social media. Let's get the word out there. Everybody have a great holiday weekend. Be safe for the holiday weekend, and we will see you back Tuesday at 2:30. Bye-bye.